audio is doing this morning. Okay, so this is just a check, and I need to connect this, right? That would be okay. Hello, Ariel. How are you today? Hmm, Okay. Speakers extra on, microphone, speakers. Okay. Hello, Nathan. How are you today? Can you hear me? It's Lon at the podium. Let's see. Excellent. Okay. So, hello, Jose Miguel. How are you this morning? If just confirm that you can hear me, Ariel, please confirm that you can hear me. And great. Okay. You don't hear anything. Hmm. Okay, that's interesting. That may be a problem at your end, Ariel, because the other students can. But Nathan, could you please just jump on your microphone and say hello so we can see if
Hello.
excellent. Could you just speak for 10 seconds and tell us how the weather is today?
Today it's very sunny outside on campus. I live in residence, so I can see outside on campus, and it's definitely very sunny.
Great. Excellent. Good audio. Jose Miguel, could you please just do the same so we can make sure we can hear you? Go ahead. Okay, microphone not working. All right, well, that's fine. You can come in on the live chat and we will put an Ariel still cannot hear anything. Okay, well, Ariel, hi, Ariel, please uh, look at your microphone and make sure it is working. Also, your speakers. Okay, so let's see. I think we're good. I'm going to put the notes up here. Which one are the notes on? Which stream to get the notes up here? Is it the Student Pod 2? Is it? Yeah, okay, good. Student Pod 2, good. And then we'll go over here and we'll put, yeah, okay, good stuff. Okay, yes, please. Great. Okay, so we're getting really close for lift off here. And good. I'm going to park this up here. Let's make sure we're okay on YouTube. We are. And that's where we get our good high definition recording. Somebody has their speaker on. Do you want to mute your microphone? Yeah, or your microphone? Good. Okay. So we're getting really nice and close here. And I can see who's here synchronously. I will leave that there for now. Just sort of thinking out loud here for a moment, everyone, to make sure we're properly connected. And I don't think we necessarily need this but let me just see if we can do that. No, I can, hold on. Too many clicks. Too many clicks. Don't get confused. Yeah, okay. Just a second. This one, yeah. We'll leave that for now. The reason I sometimes get rid of these ones is because on the recording, yeah, and I'm trying to work with Toria to get those icons at the bottom of the screen so it looks like they're all sitting with everybody. But anyways, okay. So is there anything you want to do before we? Yeah, okay, good. We've got our map there. I'm just gonna make this a little bit smaller right now so we can really get the map out. And let's see if we can pull this down. That's good. So that's good for now. Great. Okay. So let me just make sure we've got the space station up there. And let's go. I always like to get this Can we get it full screen? Get rid of, or was it? Oh no, that was full screen. Okay, so it was this. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay, we're just about ready to launch. If any of you have any trouble online in terms of seeing anything or hearing anything, then please just let us know in the live chat. And Maureen is on it, or I will see it as well. And the best thing to do, of course, is jump on your microphone, and then we don't need to go and check the live chat. We can hear you clearly. Please feel free to do that at any time online. It's just say, hi, I just want to say something, and we will stop and acknowledge that. So you will get more comfortable with the format. Um, we
Thank
already
you.
have a
Great.
question here. Great. So let me see. Karaoke. It's like karaoke. Okay, to hear that way, everybody can hear you clearly. And I'll explain in a moment. Can you please introduce yourself? Hold on. Let me make sure if you can hear Victoria. So keep talking, Victoria, and go ahead. Yeah, I think something's. I turned it on. Okay, let's try this. Okay, that's okay. It's on now, so we should hear you.
Testing one,
Yeah,
two, three. Yeah.
great.
Okay. So I noticed when you said saying hi, like on the oh wait. So hi, I'm Vicky. Everybody. I mean, you guys can hear me, so now you
Excellent.
can. Um. So wait, the
Great,
camera's
Vicky. You'll see the camera is over there,
yes, I see.
and essentially, let me just explain the format so
Okay.
you're comfortable. Unless you want to say something, please go ahead.
I know with like I did the online schooling before. Like I was like one of the very first schools who did like online schooling. So
Huh,
they can yeah.
way to go.
So I'm very familiar with this stuff. So if anybody does have any questions, I can help with that and assist you if you
Great.
have any issues. Also, there's a hand signal. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what
Yeah,
that is.
yeah,
So they can press that too.
yep,
I mean, that works.
yep.
But yeah, I'm like, if anybody has any issues, I can probably help.
Thank you very much. Okay, welcome to the global class.
Yes, very different.
Vicky, yeah, you'll see how we do things, and I will explain a little bit more. Let me just get the final little object out here, and then we can really
Oh,
get
there's a
going.
pig.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
exactly. But uh, essentially, um, first, let me just.
That might be weird on the mic. They'll be able to hear you breathing right in your ear.
You see, let me just explain something. For all of you who are listening to this, I do like to swim, and sports is really important to me. So um, I can hold my breath and also blow out for a long period. So here we go. Not a problem. I mean, I could keep going. That helps when you can swim, do the laps in the pool. But um,
I'm working on my diving, so I don't have to hold my breath, but
you're a diver?
I'm working on it. But yeah, I'll be diving this weekend.
Beautiful. The Olympics had some great diving, and
Like
I
deep sea diving, like with sharks.
whoa, okay. So we've got, let me just rewind for a second and make sure that we've started officially. We're really lucky to have a new student, Vicky, who's comfortable with everything and now has also introduced something that I think is very interesting, if I heard it correctly, is that she's working on her deep sea diving with, I think I heard, sharks?
Yeah, no, I'm going to go diving with sharks after I pass.
After she passes. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is an excellent teachable moment to start with in Global Leader. I'm always interested in doing that because that is courage. And we're going to talk today about some very practical things around global leadership and becoming a global leader to get you ready for next week when the guests begin. And there are going to be about 8 or 9 guests coming through this semester. And I need to get you ready for that. But I also want to make sure that we deal with some very important elements of global leadership and skills and qualities. that are important, practical things. So excellent. Let me just stop and make sure we've got the tech working, and then we're going to start, and I will give a little lecture on this, but there will also be a little review going over some of the questions that you all sent into my email last week. I just want to check with Mayreen if we're okay. Anything there? So take a microphone because Mayreen has a bit of updating to do as
You
well
want to take this
about.
way?
That's okay. It should work. It may just be a battery issue. So one of the things that I did last week that all of you saw at the beginning is that I was trying to show you by my example in this very sophisticated, complex classroom, leadership in action. So I just want to remind you that how I move, what I say, how I respond to problems in this room is part of this course in terms of how to become a leader. This is a very complicated, high-tech, multimedia classroom that is the first in the world like this. That's why Mayreen and I will be going to Japan next year for the World Expo to present this. This is unlike anything that's done in the world. This is not an online class. It's a flexible, high-tech, hybrid class in which you can join it any way you like, in person, synchronously, YouTube, recordings, high definition that are posted for you. You can engage with the class that way. And from week to week, you can come to the class any way you like. The participation mark will be given to you depending on how you come to the class. But everybody will get the same participation mark equally, whether you come in person, whether you're synchronously. It's a little bit different for each way that you come in. The mark will be broken down a little bit differently. And I'll be posting that soon on DC Connect. So let me just remind all of you, okay, that before we begin, we're just still at the beginning of the class today, okay? The number one quality force that you're going to have to deal with as a global leader is complexity, is dealing with a complicated world. So I'd like to write that when you're finished, write that really big in the notes. Remember, we do live PowerPoint slides. We put them together up here, and then it's posted later. Vicky, please go ahead.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
no
always have lots of
problem.
questions. Am I like taking pictures of the slide, like where the notes are, or can I refer back to
Good question.
the thing?
A PDF is made of that, and it's posted on DC Connect for you, so you don't need
Oh,
to do that.
wow. Thank you. I have to
Yeah,
browse the classroom to find it.
no problem. The whole idea of this room for all of you, and the whole idea of it being set up in person like this, is to ensure that when you come in person,
It's
you
seamless.
engage in the conversation. You don't have to worry about all the other stuff. It's the human interaction, the contributions, the human skills, the communication skills that you're going to develop together in this space. For those who don't come in person, they're missing that. But that's okay. They have the option. Everybody's very busy. I've had some comments already from students that they don't want to come in person at all. It's set up for them remotely, and that's fine. It's set up to do that with the recordings. But for all of you watching the recordings and all of you online right now in the cosmos, where we can't see your faces, we just see the planets, well, Ariel, great, we can see Ariel, but planet Abraham and the other planets. I know how stressed everybody is, and I know that for many of you, this course is not a priority. But for those of you who do make it a priority and come to this class in person, you're going to benefit greatly. That's all I can say, okay? But we're flexible here, absolutely flexible. Vicky, anything else you want to say before we get going?
Who has her camera on? So I'm very much, camera on, that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
because it's good to have that interaction with that face. Because just seeing the letters, it's the disconnect.
It's, you're right. And let me just stop by way of reviewing before we get going, because I do want to give a lecture, but I always love it when a a new student comes in and who wants to engage. So Vicky, it's a pleasure having your
Oh, it's a given.
contributions. Okay, um, the the idea is that I know that since the pandemic, in which everybody was online, there's a great deal of fatigue among people for being online. Nobody really likes to show their camera anymore. And a lot of people will say things like, I'm not saying you're doing this, but a lot of people say, my microphone isn't working or whatever. These are little things we say now to mean I don't want to turn on my microphone. I don't want to turn on my camera. And I understand that. I completely understand that. Technology can help us. It helped us through the pandemic. But we're sick of being online, most of us. And so when we have to be, we just would rather disappear, Vicky, and disappear behind the icon, tell everyone our microphone is not working. That's okay. I understand that. That's why this is so flexible. You can join all sorts of ways. I don't want to insist that you do anything. The only thing I want to do is encourage you all to come be with other people and make this a priority to interact with other humans. Our reliance on technology today is incredible. We have incredible tools at our disposal. As a leader, you're going to learn in this class how to use these tools better. We have a class set up, for example, on how gamification can be used, how gaming can be used to create scenarios and to be planning better so you can use the technology. We have a very good guest coming who's going to explain all about that later. But ultimately, you can't lead anything. You can't develop the mindset to lead unless you like being with people.
I love people.
Yeah. So let me just make a few notes, okay? Can you go over and we'll come back in a second and we'll do this, okay? But let me just remind you of some critical things. I want to give you all today into the notes some practical things that are very important for you to understand. And the notes, will be what you use, the PDF, to do your assignments. So right now we're about to begin our PowerPoint slides, but they're live. Remember, we talked about this last week? Okay, so let's just get a couple of good, Vic. So let me just get a couple of things down before we officially begin, and I begin with my lecture, okay? We're in the review stage of the class. Every week, when you come to the class, there's going to be a little connection part. We get connected, we welcome each other. I do a little review, then I have a little lecture, and then by 11 o'clock, we get into groups and do some teamwork, and then we take up what you did around 11:20, 11:30. If there's a guest who comes, like next week, for example, and other weeks, the guest will start a little bit early, maybe 10:45 or 10:30. But there's a format to this class every week, and you can always expect there will be a review at the beginning. Okay? Make sense? So, let's keep this simple, really simple, okay? And let's see how the cosmos is doing right now. And we'll go to Ariel, because Ariel is there and we can see her face, and I'll even bring her up kind of full screen. And then we'll come to others here. And here we go. Okay. Uh, Ariel, based on what I just said in the last 15 minutes or so since the beginning of the class, what is the critical force that you need to deal with as a global leader in the world today? There was a word I gave that begins with C and ends with Y. Do you remember what it was, Ariel?
Sorry, it ends with what?
Good. We can hear you, and way to go. Ariel, what was the big force that I said you have to deal with as a global leader, and you're seeing me deal with this all the time in this room? It's a very big force that we have to deal with today in the world. It begins with C and ends with Y. What did I say? Do you remember? You You're thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Okay. I won't put too much pressure on you at this point. All right? What I love is the fact that today we're beyond the troubleshooting from last week. We've launched. You are seeing a student who could be from anywhere, and she's in the class. She's in the circle. She can see you, you can see her. And there's audio here, so it's live. We don't have to wait for the live chat. That's the whole idea of having you in this circle together. We're all part of this circle together. So let's make this easy. What was your name again? Caris. Do you remember what that word is? That I said begins with C, ends with Y, and it's really critical that you understand it because you're watching me deal with it, and you're going to deal with it all the time as a leader? Yes. You got it. Okay. Complexity. Could you please write that? Complexity. We're reviewing right now, okay? You may wonder, what exactly am I going to learn in this class called Global Leader? Well, this semester, we're going to understand global, we're going to understand leader, and I'm going to explain a bit more about those two things today. But there are also some very practical skills that you're going to learn to make yourself better at leading things, not following. The number one thing that's going to be going through this entire course, it's like the current under the river every time you come into this class this semester. You're going to be dealing with this. It's called complexity. The world today, the global world in which you live, is extremely complicated. Now, let's make sure you understand what that means, okay, before we continue. I will always be returning to this. And if you're unable to understand this, please start raising a hand, jump in, or whatever. But if I don't see in your first assignment you mentioning the word complexity, I will start to think you have not come into this class. I don't know where you are. And if you've been watching the recordings only, it would make me think that you haven't been watching the recordings. So please make sure right now that you are listening to what I say and to what others are going to say around this critical thing called complexity. So let's review a little bit, okay, about this. Before I continue, does anyone have any questions? Are you good? Do you want to, anything you'd like to say? Vicky, please go ahead. Just karaoke it, and Caris, give her the microphone. Great,
I
Vicky.
did not watch the video from last week because I
You weren't enrolled.
yeah, exactly. So what did I miss? Is the thing. Is there anything dire?
Good question. Is there anything dire? You know, that's a question that a leader would ask. Remember I said last week, a leader has 20 different things coming at him or her. Did any of you watch the presidential debate last night in the United States?
I was busy doing homework.
Okay, I will explain, because today I'm going to focus on those two leaders to help you to understand. History was made last night in the United States. Kamala Harris, the presidential candidate, is very likely going to defeat Donald Trump in November, and she will become the first female president.
That's history.
Absolutely. I would put money on that. But it doesn't even matter if she wins or loses. The fact that she's performing the way she is and the way she did last night in the debate tells you something about her ability to deal with complexity. So, one of the things that a leader would ask, Kamala Harris would ask, if her advisors come to her, she would say, What do I need to know? Is there anything dire here? What's outstanding? You're telling me 15 different things, gentlemen. Her advisors are all men, maybe women, too. So you have to be able to discriminate. You have to be able to know what's important and what isn't. And in order to do that, you ask questions, just like Vicky did. Is there anything dire happening? Anything I need to know? Otherwise, let's move on, gentlemen. Let's move on, everybody. We have things to do. So thank you, Vicky, for bringing that in. Okay? Now, what I want to do is give you, in a moment, some very practical things you need to know to get you ready for your activity. But I want to review this force called complexity. I cannot stress enough how important it is that you understand this. So we need to know what is complexity, how do we define it, why is it such a critical force in the entangled global world in which you live today, and how does a leader deal with it so that he or she does not become stressed, overwhelmed, mentally messed up. Have you ever wondered why we have almost, according to the World Health Organization, an epidemic of mental health disorders in the world today? The World Health Organization is saying it is an emerging crisis. I know for a fact, and I will not ask any one of you to confirm it, that probably half this class to 2/3 has been diagnosed with some kind of mental health disorder, maybe on medication, and has difficulty dealing with stress.
That's a big number.
It's big because we live in a very stressful, confusing, volatile, entangled, complex world. And a lot of people don't know how to deal with it.
It's hard to comprehend too.
And it's hard to comprehend. Absolutely, Vicky. So complexity can make you very stressed. Complexity can make you very overwhelmed. If you cannot deal with complexity and you do not have the mental resilience and the knowledge and skills, you will be left behind in today's world. I am not going to sugarcoat anything for you in this classroom. I'm going to tell you straight the best I can, but I'm going to try and lift you up. But you're going to hear some things that are hard to hear.
Ripping off the Band-Aid?
What's that?
Ripping off the Band-Aid, essentially?
Ripping off the Band-Aid. Oh, some good lines here, Vicky. You're ready. I hope you can keep coming to the class, but take the planet for now, okay?
So what would,
All right.
what would we do with this?
Just hold on to it because I'm going to go around. I want to ask each of you for now, by way of reviewing, what you think complexity means. Okay? And let's take the microphone, and Maureen will come in a moment, but can you stay on the notes? Yeah, great. You can hold that, Vicky. Okay. Do you mind taking this? Anytime I give you the microphone to speak, this is part of your skill set that you're learning here. What I'm saying to this student is, take charge. Do not retreat into your machine. Speak. Use your voice. Do not go to Copilot. Don't go to the algorithms. Don't go to the machine to tell you what to say or to think. I want to hear it from you. That's a leader. A leader leads from their head and from their heart, not from what Copilot is telling them to do. Is this making sense? What's your name? Ron? Welcome, Ron. Okay. Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan Gill. Is it?
Travis.
Ryan Travis. Okay, thanks, Ryan. So, Ryan, what do you think complexity means?
I think complexities could mean a bunch of different things, but for us, really, it's just how many different things are going on and how you can handle it, really.
Ooh, I like that. That's the beginning. Maureen, could we put that in? Okay, definition of complexity. By the way, just watch how Maureen puts notes up there, because she's not going to be doing that all semester. You will be. She's just demonstrating for now. Definition of complexity. Let's do this again. And it's good to repeat. Excuse me. Ryan, what did you just, Ryan, what did you just say? And just make sure Maureen gets this in the notes. Your definition of complexity. Go ahead.
I think it's just how many different things are happening in your life or in a situation, and how you can deal with it.
Yep. How many different things are happening all at once, and how you can deal with it. In a nutshell, as we talked about last week, Vicky, I introduced this movie title, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Huh.
That was the Academy Award winning movie. And we talked a bit about that. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Brian, do you ever feel that during the day? It's like, where do I go now? It's everything, everywhere, all at once? Yeah, yeah. Huh. Excellent. Let's keep going, all right? So could you hand the microphone to the next student? We're getting some definitions, and then we're going to highlight what is really the critical definition for you to remember for your assignments that you'll be doing. But this is all good information. Anything that goes in those notes is stuff that you will be tested on for your assignments, okay? So what's your name?
您好，
Y-
您好，
How do you spell that?
Yinghao.
Excellent. Yinghao. Okay, great. Welcome again, and thank you for having the courage to speak in a class in a language that is not your first language, right? Okay, so this takes some courage. This is good. What does complexity mean to you?
Well, for me, it's complexity. It's well, for me, definition for complexity things can goes into two categories.
Okay.
One is too hard for you to cannot understand. One it's okay. That's too much things in constrained time for you can not prioritize things. So basically, that's two categories.
Good. Okay, let me stop you for a sec, because you're giving us some good information. First, Ariel, just nod. Could you hear Yinghao? Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, good. Yeah, excellent. Okay. Just speak into the microphone so we can hear.
Okay.
Good. Too many things.
Yep.
We're going to put that in the notes. Too many things all happening at once. When I walk into this room, do you know how many things I have to think about in order for this thing to work called the global class? So that's good. Too many things. We'll just leave it for that, okay? Is there anything you want to add and put into the notes? Too many things all happening at once?
So yeah, basically, too many things, which means too many things you have to deal with in constrained time.
Oh, time. Yeah, constraint of time now.
That's pressure.
That's pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely. Constraint of time, pressure. I love doing PowerPoints like this. If I brought in an old PowerPoint that was done 3 or 4 years ago, it'd be all old stuff, or I might have had to stay up really late last night updating it and making the pictures look really nice and the colors good and the font right, and I'd be spending almost all of my time on the presentation of it, the size of the font, the color of the slides. What happens to the content? This is content.
Yeah.
This is one reason why I've moved on from PowerPoints, and I think they are not a good tool anymore for the classroom. Number one, they tend to be boring, and number two, for the professor who's putting them together, we end up spending our time on irrelevant things, on how it looks, superficial things. This is not pretty, but this is really important content that you need to know. Make sense? Excellent. Okay, Ying Hao, thank you. Can you pass the microphone to the next student? Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Ronis. Ronis.
How do you spell that?
Ronish.
Ronis. Ronis, where are you from?
I'm from Nepal.
You're from Nepal. Wow. Um, well, we won't, come on in, Daniel. We won't talk yet about a beautiful mountain there, and about the Nepalese, and about the courage that they have in their communities. I'm sure
Ronish.
Ronish could teach us a lot about the natural world. But we'll get there, okay? So, what's complexity to you?
In my view, I guess the things we are having difficulty to do.
The things you're having difficulty to do. Why don't we say complexity is difficult? It's not easy to deal with, okay? Complexity is not easy. It's very difficult. How you juggle. Does that make sense? It's difficult, okay? Thank you. Let's go to one more student here, and then we're going to kind of move on. We won't get everybody, but among the three of you here, I'm going to put some pressure on all of you, because if you cannot deal with pressure and stress, you can't lead. Which one of you is going to come up here, take the microphone, and tell us what complexity means? And you're going to have to stand in front of others and speak off your feet. You can't look at anything. You can't go to your machine. You have to speak from your head and your mouth. And probably you're going to have to do it in a foreign language, English. You ready to do that? Daniel, please go up. Let's get him the microphone. We saw him last week. Walks into the class from Nigeria, is it? What? See how he immediately takes it. He's like, oh, an athlete, a hockey player, basketball player. In the final minutes, they want the ball, they want the puck. Give it to me. No, I'm not going to hide. I want it because I know I am not afraid. That's Daniel. So let's see. He just walked in. He's late, but I'll let you be a little late today. Everybody is allowed these things. But Daniel, right off your toes, what is complexity? Define it for us, please.
In my own terms,
Absolutely.
yeah, complexity is a situation, or I always call it something that you might have the tools or you might have the equipment, but the processes through which to accomplish that task might require, more energy, more skills, and for you to get it done. Just for example, why I even came late to class today was as a result of my SIM card failure. So I couldn't get access to my bus pass. So I had to find an alternative to get Presto card.
Yeah.
So it was a kind of a complex situation, but I just have to find a way around.
And what do you mean it was a complex situation? Like, what was going on exactly?
Yeah, my phone lost network. The SIM stopped working. So in that process, I was actually shut out. I would have been able to come to class because through my phone, I could access internet. I could access my other communication, like for example, even trying to message my professor that, oh, I won't be able to come to class. My phone is my the key to almost everything around me. So when I lost the network to my phone, it looked as if I lost everything. So it was more or less like a complex situation that I had to find a way to make sure that I get this done without giving excuses.
Excellent. Well, we have, again, well said, we have a teachable moment here with what Daniel has just said. As we did with Vicky And as I try to do with all of you, I try to teach from you and then give you what you need to know to make it relevant to all of you. As courageous as Daniel has been in stepping up and explaining, as good as his communication skills are, and as kind of optimistic as I feel he is, just a little bit, he's positive generally. I just get a little bit of that, just from what I've seen so far, okay? He made a big mistake as a leader. He made a big mistake in how he dealt with the complex situation this morning. What do you think the mistake is? Anybody online want to try? Let's see if I have or we have your brains in this class. Nathan, what is the mistake that Daniel made? We see an unmuted microphone, but we don't hear a human being.
I'm thinking.
Very good. That's a great answer. Nathan, we hear your mind. You are reflecting. That's what leaders do. They don't just react. So we'll give you 10 more seconds to think, Nathan, and I'm going to count, okay, slowly.
He didn't give himself time to prepare. He just ran right away. And when you have time to prepare, you should use that time to prepare because you give a better answer.
That's a good answer, but it sounds like this was something Daniel couldn't prepare for. It just happened.
That is true. I'm not sure.
I will help you, okay? But Nathan, excellent. The way you've used your microphone, you've answered, you've thought about it. This is absolutely the kind of mindset we need for global leadership. In Daniel's case this morning, something broke down. Something broke down. Let me just finish, Vicki, and then come back, okay? I mentioned this last week briefly, but I'm going to help you understand this now in the context of complexity. Our machines, our phones, have made our lives extremely complex because we always have a device with us right now, the virtual world. That's new for human beings in civilization. I know this because I teach world history. I teach the whole human story in this classroom, past, present, and future. So I know what I'm talking about when I talk about history. There has never been a time in human civilization when humans have had the kind of tools that enable them to create a separate world that is happening next to the real world. That's everything everywhere all at once. If you watch that movie, there's a whole online virtual thing going. I think the mistake he made, your professor is saying, it's only his perspective as a global leader, if you will, teaching, is that he allowed the breakdown of his phone to dictate the course of his day. What he could have done, even though he's right in saying that everything depends on my phone, it's the key. If a leader said that, they would not be able to respond quickly enough to the human beings around him who are also demanding his time. But more importantly, what Daniel could have done, if he's a good leader, is he would have said, first, I'm going to stop for a moment in this moment, he would say. And he would recognize, I have a breakdown, machine breakdown. He would think like an astronaut. Something's broken down here, but we don't do that generally. When our machines break down today, we immediately overreact to them to get them fixed, as if without that machine, we don't exist. A smart person, a skillful person, a person who's ready for this world and will lead would have the mindfulness and the patience to step back and say, oh, something's broken down, but that's okay. I have more important things to do, which is I need to get to Lon's class. I'm not expecting you would know this, Daniel, or you could do this. You're young, you're in a class to learn these things. But you are a living, breathing example right now in the story you've told of how you let a complex situation today take over. You didn't control it the way you could. You waited to get that problem solved. You lost sight of the big picture. And the big picture is there's a class, there's an education, there are these people I need to be with. I can get this thing fixed later. I don't need my machine for everything. What I need is human beings. Is this making sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, good. Again, I want to thank you for just jumping up and speaking. Do you have anything you want to say to what I've just analyzed for you to help you and understand how you're dealing with complexity?
Yeah. What I would say is that saying that things wasn't really working as it ought to be, so I had to go for an alternative, which was a press to card. At least that I don't need any device; it's just a tap. Yeah.
How important was it that you got that problem fixed right then and there? Could you not have waited until later to come back and fix it?
I would have. Still for the phone, it's still not being fixed yet because I can't deal with that now because I have class and not just this class, other classes for today. So what was important to me was like getting to school.
Getting to school makes sense.
Yeah. So that was my target, and of which though I was a bit late, but I was still able to achieve that.
Did you remember that this class is on YouTube live?
Certainly.
So you could have started interacting with the class immediately, but you forgot that.
Actually, I would have been able to do that, but without internet, it's not possible.
Good. Okay. All right. Take a seat. Lovely. You know the way you respond. You're thinking on your toes. It's excellent. Okay. He did his best. I don't want to question all that he did. I just want to help you understand something about how we rely so much on our machines for everything. Okay, Vicky, we're going to stop in a moment and we're going to move on to an activity, but I want to also
I was
give
just
you a
gonna
little
say
bit
with
of.
his situation was just a little bump in the road.
Yes.
But yet he still, was able to get through everything. Just like it's just a little hiccup and just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going. But stop in a moment where something's not working and try to think of the bigger picture. Don't get caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a hard thing to do.
Don't put the mic down and then,
What's that?
put the mic down kind of thing.
No, that you hold on to the mic for now, okay? Hold on to the mic. I want to just take a little bit, about 5 more minutes to just finish the key points that I wanted to give today because I've spent a little bit longer on the review, which is complexity, and I haven't given you some of the new content that I would like to do. So let's just make another slide. And with Daniel, could you please, I need to be more mindful when things break down. And I will give you one small story about this just to help you to understand. Then I'll move on. And a few years ago, the American president at the time, Bill Clinton, you may have heard of his name, before there were new presidents, Barack Obama, for example, or Donald Trump or Joe Biden, before there was Pierre Trudeau, that was the father, Justin Trudeau in Canada, and other leaders, there was Bill Clinton in the United States. One day, while he was giving a State of the Union address, which is what the American president does every year, once a year, to the entire Congress, the teleprompter broke down. When a political leader holds an event like that, makes a major speech, quite often there's a teleprompter in front of the lens of the camera, like a newsreader. If you go and you watch how newsreaders do this, in front of the lens of the camera shooting through this thing. The camera can't see it, but the person sitting in front of the camera can. It's the words of what they're saying scrolling by, scrolling by. And the person is looking straight into the camera, and it looks like they're talking off the top of their head, but actually they're just reading from a teleprompter. But sometimes you can see their eyes moving. But the good ones, they even know how to control their eye movements. Bill Clinton lost that live. Imagine that. Millions of people are watching State of the Union address, American president saying, and he's looking, and the teleprompter has stopped. We never learned about this until later. He spoke for 8 minutes live while the prompter was being fixed, and nobody knew that it was broken.
That's talent.
Talent. Courage, it's an ability to handle pressure. Just like Daniel did. He stood up there and handled pressure. Ryan, Yinghao, Ronish, Vicky, and others here who are stepping up. You can handle that. I'm not saying you're going to become Bill Clinton now. Listen, there's no expectation. I'm trying to tell you what you need to know, and you can practice these things. So being calm and composed, having grace under pressure is really important. And that leads me to the critical thing I want to talk about today. Okay, I'm just going to take 5 minutes. New content today. Can you write that on the side? New content today. We've just reviewed complexity. I've helped you to understand how this force is so critical in your life and how you have to acknowledge it and deal with it and not let it take over your day or whatever project that you're leading. When you get into your small team shortly, I'm going to do a little digging on YouTube, and I'm going to show you afterwards part of the debate last night that took place in the United States between the two presidential candidates. And for our example, say, of global leaders, I'm just sticking to the easy choices, which is two American political leaders. Because in the world today, the United States has immense cultural and social power. It is the manufacturing heart of the world. It's where so many things get innovated. It's where there's a lot more free thinking, but there are problems too. The United States is not to be admired, but it needs to be understood and respected. And when there are people who are running for president there, they are important potential new global leaders. So that's why I'm also concentrating on this. We also have a class coming in November before and just after the American election. The election will be in November the 5th, I think. And we're going to be talking a lot about democracy and freedom as important forces in the world and how important they are for you as a leader to understand. A good leader lifts people up and frees them, gets the best out of the people around him. A good leader of a business or an enterprise is not a military general. That's war. That's something different. But in an organization or in the things that you want to lead, there's a very good chance that you're going to have to be very positive under crisis. You're going to have to work with people sometimes who bring problems, and you need to help them to solve those problems, and you want to inspire them, not to shut them down. It's really important. So what happens in the White House after November in terms of what happens in the rest of the world is important because the rest of the world tends to react to what the United States is doing. It's called the world and the West. The Western power in the world is the United States. You know, Canada reacts to the United States. We've known that for so long because we live on the border, the longest undefended border in the world. It's called sleeping with the elephant. That's what it's like in Canada. That's not my line. It comes from Justin Trudeau's father when he was the prime minister, Pierre Elliott Trudeau. He said, a Canadian and an American, for the Canadian, it's like sleeping with the elephant. We're much smaller. We have to deal with this huge force. But the rest of the world is like this too, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, China, India, Venezuela, a small country like Haiti, a huge African nation like Nigeria, South Africa, Malaysia, Indonesia, New Zealand, wherever you go, 200 nations or so in the world. And they often are reacting to what the United States is doing, for better or for worse. So these two leaders that were on the stage last night, one of them will become the new president in November. And very likely it will be a woman. Now, there were things that came out of the debate last night in which it's generally viewed that Kamala Harris won handily. She more or less cleaned Donald Trump's clock. She did something that is really critical as a leader. And I'm going to try and show you that in the video, but I'm going to mention it now. She stayed calm. Being calm under pressure is very difficult to do. Donald Trump lost it, as he does a lot. But his supporters love him for that because they think he's honest. I'm not so sure. He's had 6 bankruptcies in his life. He lied grossly about the American election, the last one, but I won't get into all of that. The important thing is to understand that this woman got up on the stage last night in the moment of her life when she had to deliver a very good performance against a very formidable candidate, a man and a woman who had been denigrating her and a lot of women too. That's what Donald Trump has often done. But many people like him because they feel somehow they're getting something authentic. He started to get emotional. You could see it. And through this debate, she stayed calm. Grace under pressure. Grace under pressure. Calmness under all of those things, fully listening. She was listening to him, even though, imagine what it's like to be up there in front of millions of people on live television, having to perform. She's trying to remember so many things. She's been spending 3 or 4 days preparing for this debate. You know, there's a lot of pressure that's pulling and pulling. But she stood and she listened. She was calm. And gradually, Donald Trump started to unravel and get emotional, start calling people names. And so this is a really important thing to remember. Grace under pressure, and 3 other things I'm going to give you right now, and then we're going to stop. Okay, Vicky?
It sounds like I can't remember her name. I think it was
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
She was like being like very poised.
She was poised.
Sounds like she like based on your description of how
Yes.
she acted, was she stayed humble and be kind.
Poised. Humble.
And stay kind.
Kind.
With confidence.
Yeah, no. Fierce.
Oh yes, better.
Fierce. Underneath the calmness and the kindness is utter, indomitable determination.
Grit.
You will not break me. It's like bamboo. The Chinese and the Asian world, they build a lot with bamboo. You go to any building could be in Taipei in Taiwan, you could go to Beijing in China or Seoul in South Korea, and you'll see these huge bamboo tubes as the scaffolding for a building. And you might wonder, what the hell are they doing here building with bamboo? Why isn't it cement, concrete, pillars? Because bamboo bends. so beautifully. It never breaks. It bends. Any of you ever heard of the name Bruce Lee, the great martial artist Bruce Lee, China? Yeah, like water. You know, you're always flowing,
It's cool.
but underneath is like real power. Making sense?
Almost like a dance.
What's that?
Almost like a dance.
Almost like a dance. Lovely. Kamala Harris displayed some of that last night. So do you. You need to be able to do that under pressure. Now, I'm going to give you 3 other things to go in these notes, and then we're going to stop, okay? There are 3 critical qualities for you, practical qualities that you need to develop in order for you to become a better leader. There's complexity, of course, we've dealt with that. We're talking about the grace under pressure, the poiseness, that sort of that ferocity underneath that kind of flexibility. You can handle anything that's being thrown at you. You're dancing with it. Once upon a time, when I was living very close to University of Toronto, I'm from Toronto, downtown Toronto. I live in High Park with my wife now, but when I was living in a house with other young people, U of T campus, I used to go to Subway for a sandwich at lunch often. It was a great Subway across from U of T. I'd sit on a bench in the sunlight, summer, have my 6-inch or foot-long BMT. One day I walked to the bench and somebody had written on the bench 3 words. And when I looked at these words, I thought, wow, this person understands something, because not only have they put the words there, but they put them in the right order. Just 3 words. And I thought, this is something that I think has a lot of depth in it. Somebody who's put these 3 words there on a bench in front of a university is trying to communicate something. And I think that this has quite a bit of wisdom in it, more than a textbook. Yeah. Well, the first word began with I, the second word began with C, and the third word began with P. And these 3 qualities, I have come to believe, are vital for you in order to achieve and lead. And they've only been confirmed over the years. As I've been teaching, I've come to realize they're even more important. So they become even deeper. It's like the roots from these words have gone deeper into the ground, like a tree has grown, huge tree. The roots just keep getting deeper and deeper. This tree gets really strong. Hold on a second, Vicky. Edward, what do you think the first word is that begins with I, that is really, really important, that we should write down here? Planet EL. Planet EL may not be alive today, so we're going to move on to another planet in the cosmos. Planet CR. Carlene, how are you? Are you safe on planet CR? Okay, the cosmos is a little quiet, so we're going to come back here. No problem. For all of you watching the recordings, if you've made it this far, this is really critical stuff right now. So I'm going to go default. Vicky, for the moment, any of those words, what might be one of them?
I like to say something and then a word.
Sure, go ahead.
Almost like when you saw those words, it almost planted a seed in you that actually made you go on this tangent of teaching, it seems like.
Well, I was already teaching before, but it only made me want to teach more.
It just made
It's a
you
good-
just like have like more confidence. It's like, I got this, like one of those
Yeah.
things. And it stuck with you, which is good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The word I was thinking was integrity. I don't know, like
It's a good word, but it's not the one there that would go top. But let's put a side note, okay, Mayreen, because that's also important too. I would put that on a bullet point slide if I was talking about critical qualities, but it's not number 1. Number one, and I'll help you. Every person who leads needs a vision. You need to have a picture of where you're going, and you need to communicate that to the people around you. You need vision. Well, what is vision? That's the word that begins with I. What do you think, Vicky? Getting close. Put insight down on the small insight. Does anyone else want to try? Ryan? We're getting really warm. Idea.
Is it
Where do you get?
inspiration?
Oh, we're in the rink, but we haven't put on our skates yet. We're getting close. Okay. Idea. Intelligence. We're all around it. Intelligence. This is the fundamental quality that gives the human being power over pretty well every other animal on planet Earth.
Intellect?
No animal. What's that, Ariel?
That was me, Nathan.
What is it, Nathan?
Intellect?
That's intelligence.
It's
Way
another
to
word
go.
for intelligence.
You're listening. Excellent, Nathan. I really like the way you're connecting. Imagination.
Oh, that makes it's like right there.
It's right there.
Yeah.
And I'll give you the other two, just so we can move on, get you into the teams a little bit. And I want to show you part of this debate from last night. The second is courage, and the third is perseverance.
I persevere through everything.
Well, this is good, Vicky. Imagination, courage, perseverance. Let's stop for a second and think about what you've heard from me today and us so far. Complexity, grace under pressure, imagination, courage, perseverance. These are all practical qualities that you need to develop. You're right about all those others, integrity, idea, etc. But I want to help you work on your imagination. I want to help you work on your courage. I want to help you work on your perseverance. Next week, when we have a guest, Aftab Hussain, who's one of the youngest professors and heads of his departments in Dhaka, Bangladesh, at the Daffodil International University. He will come here live from Dhaka, Bangladesh. It'll be evening there. And he's a lovely person. He's participated in global classes for many years. And he is a young, up-and-coming global leader. He's going to show you how he's displayed imagination, courage, and perseverance, particularly, and courage to start to rise as a young leader in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh is a country right now that is going through immense change. They've just had a kind of democratic revolution there over the summer. They got rid of their leader through a street protest. You will meet people over the next weeks that display these qualities in different ways, but ultimately this is about you and how you're going to develop these things. So by the end of this semester, after watching these people who've displayed these qualities and made things happen in different ways, Madison Wesley, who's going to come and give a presentation on digital health in the mental world. She's an up-and-coming young scholar, great researcher, who really takes charge of things. You're going to meet, for example, a filmmaker who has put together a film called Peace by Chocolate from Syria. Maureen can tell you all about that as well. You're going to meet global graduates, Durham College graduates, who've gone on to succeed in their jobs around the world. You're going to meet a number of people who are exercising these qualities in the real world. But it's important that you understand these qualities first, okay? And the number one quality that will save you any day and deal with any complex situation and any problem is imagination, coming up with a new idea and then having the courage to see it through, having the grace under pressure to deal with it. It will all come back to your imagination. Making sense? Great. I'm going to stop, okay? Vicky, yes. What's that?
Are we growing neuropaths?
That's neuroscience. And what we're learning, she's right. We are learning that the brain is very plastic and we develop new pathways in the brain, new synapses and neurons that help us to, in other words, when we create new solutions, the brain is also adapting and creating the pathway in the brain for that. It's fascinating. It's another thing.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. I teach humanity's destiny too, so I love talking about neuroscience and what's happening with the human brain. I'd like to stop and give you a chance to interact with each other about this critical quality of imagination. So here's what we're going to do, okay? Since it's a fairly small group today, I'm going to do the same thing I did last week because it seemed to work. Could you get on your feet, please? And let's see. I'll come to all of you online in a moment, and I will help all of you, but let's see if we have our even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lovely. Okay, so it will be a lot easier today. Ryan and Daniel, Shing, I'll get it. Could you be the 5 here? Carice and Vicky, stand, close to each other as a line facing. Yeah, I'll take the mic. Okay, good. Okay, and then what's your name? Kadian. Okay, is that 5? There, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the rest of you, could you face? So everyone should be facing a person, just like last week. Okay. Nope, you just stand there and you face that way. She will face you, and let's make sure it's exactly like last week. Okay. And while you're doing this activity, I'm going to find the debate, and then we're going to show it during the take-up. So in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'd like you to do exactly what you did last week, but at least this week with it. Yeah, we did, but there were a lot more people, so not everybody got to meet. You're going to spend a few minutes talking back and forth about something, and then I'm going to say switch, and you come around, okay? Well, I have an idea of what I'd like all of you to talk about, but now I'm going to put a little pressure on you. What do you think we should talk about? What would you like to talk to him about in terms of today's content? Complexity, imagination. Well, is there anything you'd like to talk to him about? A question like you'd like to ask him? Ten seconds. Oh, okay. What's the question? What is the
True meaning of complexity in your view?
We covered that. Why don't we say this? What is the most complex thing you've ever had to do? Is that okay? Yeah, wouldn't that be kind of interesting? You tell. So you're going to ask him that. He's going to tell. You'll answer him, and then you ask him that, and he answers, and then we're going to switch. Everybody's going to do that. Clear? All right. On your mark, get set, go. Great. Yeah, thanks. Okay, good. All right. Now, for those of you online right now, and let me see what we have. We have Ariel, and we have Nathan, and we have Abraham, and we have Augustine, Carlene, Edward, Hannah, Jose Miguel, Nico. Hi, Nico, and Shauna. For all of you, here's what I'd like you to do. I would like you to write in the live chat, just like last week, as you did for the synchronous students. But this time, I would like you to describe the most complex situation you have ever been in the live chat. Ariel, just nod if you understood that. Good. Okay. Nathan, just go yes in the live chat if you understood that. I've lowered the speaker here, so I can't necessarily hear you clearly, but I'm going to assume you all understood that. Nathan, did you understand what I just asked you to do? Okay, sure. I would like you to write in the live chat, what is the most complex situation you have ever been in? Describe it in the live chat. Okay? Excellent. Thanks. So, Abraham, Augustine, Carlene, Edward, Hannah. Good, Nathan. Nathan, thinking is good. Take your time to think about it. You have about 10 minutes. Okay, everybody? Great. Okay. Let me just go talk to Maureen. I'm going to look for the debate, and then we'll take it up. I'll give these out. Thanks. Uh, and then I want to give you just a couple of minutes at the end when you're giving these out to update on Expo and how things are going. Okay, great. Okay, switch. Step to your left. And at the end, come around. Okay, so yeah, this is where the train wreck begins. So take a step to your left. That's right. Daniel, move to your left. You're coming around. Did you? Okay, good. So you're, yeah, good, good. Okay. Did you move? Yeah, so you should be in front of a new person. Yep, yep. And but you're doing it with a different person. Okay? Way to go. Way to go. Okay. Good, Jose Miguel. Yeah, coming to a new country. Okay. Jose Miguel, I would like to just ask you if you are prepared to read out loud what you've written in the take up. Does your microphone work today? Do you have a tech issue today, Jose Miguel? And if you say your mic is not working, I'll just accept that. But as a leader, a young leader growing, your tech has to work. Okay, so at any rate, Jose Miguel, did you hear my question? Okay, good. Please troubleshoot, okay? In the real world today, you need to make sure your tech is working, okay? Good. All right, so let me look for this debate. Good, Nico. Okay, switch. Great. Good. Okay, switch. Keep it going. That's good. You'll meet everybody today. Excellent. Good, Nathan. You're really thinking. Let's see. Ooh, Nathan, you're going to be ready to read this out loud as well? Your microphone's working. Yeah, good. I know it is. Excellent. Okay. Now, one more thing I want to say to all of you online, so please listen closely. I need to do this for attendance, okay, to make sure I'm tracking this properly. Would you please, each of you, enter your full name and say, I'm here? So, Ariel, just enter in the live chat. Ariel, Harry, I'm here, okay? This way I can track this properly and give you the participation mark that you will get, okay? Good, Ariel, Nathan, thank you. Abraham, Augustine, everybody do that. If you don't do this, you will not get the participation marks. So just please make sure you understood this. Okay? Good, Abraham. Hannah? Yep. Yeah, I see it. Edward? Way to go. Way to go. Shauna? Yeah, anyways. Good. Everybody's heard. Okay, we're going to take this up shortly. Uh, Failures. Getting older. Good, Kathleen. Yeah, nice. Getting older. That is complex. I can tell you that for certain. Okay, switch. Let's see. Have you all met each other yet? I think we're getting close. Have you seen this person yet? No? Okay, good. Go ahead. Great. Okay, so I'm going to get my thing. So let's get ready for take up. And I think what I'm going to do is, in order for, yeah, I'm going to do the take up first. I'd like to get somebody to write this instead of you this time. So stay with the notes, and then I'll have you come over and do the, okay? Good, thanks. Okay, we're going to do take up in 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, so there's Maureen update. There's the final email. All right, for those of you online that would like to get a little bit of ahead of things, I will be asking you before the end of the class to send me an email, as you did last week, with a question and your name at the bottom of the email. So please, if you've done the live chat description that you put in of your complex situation, please go ahead and now send me an email with the question. One question from today's class that's important, okay? With your name, just like you did last week. Go ahead. Good. So when you're finished explaining in the live chat about your complex situation, I'd like you to then send me an email. Here is my email address again, okay? lon.appleby@durhamcollege.ca, okay? There we go. Okay, please take your seats. We're going to take this up, all right? Oh, you've been up all night? Okay. Fair enough. Okay, sure. That's fine. Okay, we are getting ready for our take up. And very good. Everybody's back. You may not have met everyone, but that's okay. Important thing is to interact. I'm going to start this video and I'm just going to let it run silently, okay? And take a look at this juxtaposition. You have two candidates. From a visual standpoint, what do you see? Like, this was live last night. There's a journalist. He's asking a question, and it comes back to her. Let's watch just visually how they're both handling this pressure.
I can't hear it.
It's okay. You don't need to hear it as long as you can see
Okay.
this, okay? It's visually.
Yeah, I
Ariel
can
on the
see it.
big, yeah, good. You can see it? You should be able to see it.
Mhm.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'm not giving you the audio right now. I just want you to see the visual, okay? We'll
Okay.
make it simpler. Let's just watch for a second. These are two leaders. One of them in November will be the president of the United States, the largest democratic superpower on planet Earth. If that woman, Kamala Harris, wins, she will be the first president in the history of the United States. That's going all the way back to the Declaration of Independence and the American Civil War. We're talking 250 years of history. If she wins, we see a change. It's remarkable what's happening. But take a look at the visuals here of how they're both in their body language showing us something. Vicky, what do you see? Take the microphone. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'll help you, okay? Because just watch. What do we?
I like facial cues. My mom's hearing impaired, so I tend to read body languages.
Yeah.
Hello, is this working?
Yep.
Okay. So the thing, like, I tend to like read facial expressions pretty decently because, like, my mom, she's hearing impaired, and I learned how to read lips.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not trying to read their lips because you're telling us just look at them instead
Yeah.
of reading their lips. So I'm just out of.
Okay, so give us a little insight.
As I'm seeing, Trump already from just standing there. He seems like he was already in a mood when he just first started.
He was already what?
In a mood.
In a mood.
It seems like he needs a nap.
Oh.
One of those things.
Yeah.
It looks like it. Like just by standing there, he's like pretty much like, oh, like he seems like he's like very like, I'm in my own like set my own way. He's like, he feels threatened in a way. It looks like he seems like a woman. He's like, that's empowering him. Like he's like, she's like just listening, just taking his shit.
Okay, watch your language. Okay.
He's like, okay, just keep saying because you're just digging your hole deeper. Yep, you're just giving me, you're just giving me information that
Yeah.
I'm gonna just use against you. You know.
And do you know how much he talked?
Oh,
Twice as much as she did. It was tracked. Who's doing the talking? Who's doing the ranting?
He's ranting. She's talking.
Does he ever look at her?
No,
Why not?
he feels like he's threatened.
But that's a woman. And he thinks that women are kind of not as important as men.
Yeah.
How could he be threatened by a woman? Well, maybe he's living in another world.
Yeah.
An old world. Is it
In his
possible
ways.
there's a new world happening? Do you know who the president of Mexico is right now? She just won? A woman. Let me stop for a second, okay? And let's just, I'm going to let this run here silently as we continue, because we're 5 minutes to the end, and I want Maureen to mention something as well. Just hold your thought for a second, Vicky. I want to make sure I give everyone a chance, and there's always so much that we can be doing, but you're watching me in a live moment dealing with being overwhelmed. I have 5 minutes left. There's so much I want to do. and so much I can't do.
So little time.
Exactly. So I have to make a decision. I'm thinking on my feet. I'm not going back and going, oh, this is the plan today, and now we've got to do this. And well, we didn't do that because we're running out of time, so I'm going to keep them here longer so we get through everything. No, I'm not going to do that. Because the reality is, you're supposed to be out of here in 5 minutes. So I decide on the fly. I can't do everything. I'm going to do one thing because I know what's most important. All of you. Maureen, I want to give an update. Don't have time. She's not as important as you. I'm not as important as you. So let's do a little take up quickly, okay? Very quickly, and we'll be done in 5 minutes. I want to give the microphone, Vicky, to someone who hasn't spoken today. And so could you give the microphone to, actually, yeah, you go ahead, all right? And take some heat. Take some heat. Everybody's looking at you now. Please explain what you think was the most complex or interesting situation that was told to you. And Ryan, could you just jump over there to the smartboard and be ready to write? Okay. And we're going to put this in the notes, and then we're going to be done. We're not going to have a chance to do everybody. I'm not going to be able to get to Nathan, who I said I would, but we're going to save that live chat, and it will be there as a reference, and we can do that later. What we're going to do is we're going to focus on one person. Very important. You. What's your name?
Kellyanne.
How do you spell that again?
K-E-E-L-Y-A
K-E-L-Y-E-N-E. Kellyanne.
Yeah.
Kellyanne. Do you want to help him with that? Okay. Kellyanne, what would you say was the most complex thing that you heard?
The most complex thing that I heard is managing school and work at the same times. Like most of the students here try to explain me that
Yes.
they had to go to work, after work, go to school.
Yes.
And sometimes go to school and after school go to work.
Yeah.
It was really difficult for them, but they did it. And also the other one was Daniel. He told me that when he arrived here, the most complex situation that he managed is when he arrived to Canada.
Oh, arriving. Just write down, but write larger if you can, so we can see. Okay, but write down anything that as you're listening to her. Just write it down. Okay, don't worry. Thank you for doing this. Your writing is being seen by everybody. That's courage. So managing school and work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what was the other thing you said?
The other one,
New country? Was it? Coming to a new country?
yeah, coming to Canada.
Coming to Canada. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's true that I think that all international students face the same situation because coming here is really stressful and it's like a long trip. So he told me that he came too early.
He came too early?
Yeah. And imagine you're stressing and you're sure that you're going to enter, and then they told you that you came too early. So maybe you're going to go back home or maybe you're going to stay.
Oh, so they got a decision. Oh, do I stay or do I go? Sounds like a song. Do I stay or do I go? Thank you, Kellyanne. It's Kellyanne. Yeah, thank you very much. You can go back. I'm going to wrap this up. Just tip of the iceberg here, folks. I want to get you out of here in time because that was my pledge to you always. We don't have a break and we end 15 minutes early. I want you to finally, before we finish the class, send me an email as you did last week with a question and your name at the bottom, okay? And Maureen, could you please write my email again there in large So you can send me an email with a question, one question based on today's class, and you'll be doing that at the end of every class, okay? I hope that today what you saw was just the beginning of things that you need to understand around qualities and skills that you need to have. But the most important thing is always going to be what Kellyanne just did, what Daniel did, what you've all done today is you speak. You don't wait for somebody to speak for you. That's being obedient. That's not a leader. I may say that Vicky today displayed some very natural leadership qualities. Daniel definitely has it. All of you here are displaying it one way or the other. But I would say just watch a little these two through the semester and how they kind of jump in, and particularly this young man here. He's smiling. He's like, go for it. You know, he didn't overreact when I criticized. He listened, and he even disagreed with me a little bit. I like that. I think it's great. Make sure you get the question done. Class is over. And for all of you online, I will save all of this in the live chat. We will take this up next week. We will have our first guest. And Maureen has made these great stickers. And what should they use them for? Anything? You know, you're in the global leader class, okay? Just a little something, because she's creative and she's the coordinator of the global classroom. Yeah, so here you go. Yeah, here you go. You're a global leader. Yeah, it's just a little, she's always, yeah, look at that. That's Maureen. Here you go. You will hear more from her in the coming weeks, but there's a lot she's doing behind the scenes now to help make this work. Okay? All right, everybody online, I'm going to end the live stream. I'll see you next week. And I have, thanks, Nico. Same to you. Is the class? Yes, it is, Abraham. The after class question is mandatory. Way to go. Have a good week, Nathan. And let me get this. There's the live chat. We're good. I haven't lost that. I'm going to end the live stream. And I can do it off Toria.